But the 625 million acres, people can't realize it's like the whole ocean.
No. 625 million acres is not the entire ocean, YouTube. 625 million acres is 1/3 of one shoreline that resides on one side of one of Earth's continents. And that third of a shoreline residing on one side of one of 7 continents is touching one of Earth's 5 giant oceans. There used to be 4, actually, but the sheer enormity of Earth's connecting waters was too hard for our tiny brains to properly comprehend and navigate without dividing it into even smaller pieces than we originally thought, YouTube. So no, it only seems like an entire ocean to a moron, to an uneducated buffoon who squandered his father's private school money on hookers and orange spray tan. Good and decent people of YouTube. We're doomed. I gotta laugh because it's just so bad that my brain won't allow me to actually believe that we're in this stupid of a timeline, that this is the reality. But it is. This is the reality. Many of you guys know that if you're here at least, I'm sure that you've seen 2 cans of spray tan Sam put on a clown show disguised as a media conference at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. And the problem is not just that he's a moron. It's not just that many people, tens of millions of people in America voted for this moron, buffoon, clown who can't even put his own makeup on. The most dangerous part of all of this is our media has been complicit in the clown show. What you didn't see was the most important parts of the interview. I'm sorry, the clown show, the press conference, if you will. And it was all in the first 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes was the most important part. And even our own independent media, the people that I love to watch, and I'm not saying don't watch them anymore, but they fell for the low-hanging fruit. For the people who missed it, I'm going to give you a short recap of the buffoonery, and we're gonna have a little running commentary by David Pakman himself, and then we'll get to the real, the meat of it that everyone missed, that spells doom and gloom for the entire country, for your housing market, for the environment, for Earth's most deviant and destructive players. Yeah, that was missed. Check this out first.
2 questions related to each other. First, you said on your first day of office you were going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had...
It dripped out very quietly, like from one of Sleepy Joe's shower heads.
People in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out...
They were, didn't you guys hear? The FBI agent's wife's, daughter's, cousin's, preschool teacher's kid is very closely related to those riots.
About Hezbollah, we have to
find out about Hezbollah.
Bruh.
Now you might be saying, why on earth is Trump talking about Hezbollah? Nobody knows.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No. I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those 2. All right, he wants everybody to have an electric heater instead of a gas heater. Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat.
Trump knows a lot about heat.
As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? That's what they want you to have.
What the fuck did you just say?
There's something wrong with them. They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out, because they want to preserve, even in areas that...
when you buy a faucet,
that have so much water you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
I get it, YouTube. I get it. When somebody says returning the name of the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America, doesn't it sound good? Doesn't it have a ring to it? I can't do this. I can't do this. When somebody says that, seriously, and a world leader, when the leader of the free world gets on a microphone with golden pillars behind him and says that, you gotta cover it. You kidding me? You're not gonna cover that? You gotta cover that. Here's the problem. It's bullshit. It's dumb. It's stupid. It's hilariously dumb. You cover that with the same amount of importance as it deserves. We are the laughingstock of the world at the moment. Can't change that. What you cover with importance is this.
And we're honored to welcome one of the most respected business leaders in the Middle East, indeed the world. He's a founder and chairman of DMAC Properties, Hussein Sajwani, a very respected gentleman. And I'm thrilled to announce today that DMAC will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money. It's a great thing, and I believe he will say that he's doing it because of the fact that he was very inspired by the election. They wouldn't do it without that election. I can tell you a lot of people wouldn't. You saw last week where we have somebody who's going to go from $100 to $200 billion. And we have many other people, and we'll be bringing some of them out. Some of them like to do it somewhat more quietly, and some don't. And they feel so strongly about the country that they want to let people know about it. But it's an honor to have such a great investor investing in our country. The investment will support massive new data centers across the Midwest, the Sunbelt area, and also to keep America on the cutting edge of technology and artificial intelligence. He's very big into the data centers.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been amazing news for me and my family when he was elected in November. In data center, we are in 10 countries around the world, in Asia, Europe, and Middle East. And we're very, very excited now with his leadership and his open strategy and policy to encourage businesses to come to U.S. For the last 4 years, we've been waiting for this moment.
Wow. And before we get into what you just heard, I'd like to just take a moment to understand that the person who he just praised, first name is Hussein, and all of a sudden, there's nothing wrong with that name. You remember this?
Barack Hussein Obama.
Barack Hussein Obama. All of a sudden, there's nothing wrong with the name Hussein. All of a sudden, Hussein is Trump's best friend. What is it about this Hussein that makes it okay all of a sudden? Well, let's just say if you voted for lower housing prices, it's not really the one you want to be making promises to.
The story of DMAC is the story of dreams coming true, delivering the peak in luxury. In fact, we brought luxury to real estate back in 2002. Luxury with purpose. Then we repurposed it with every project. We are DMAC. We define luxury with fiery ambition and imagination as its ally. Not your regular growth story. Not one where only the graphs keep rising. This one has skies changing shape and horizons moving beyond vision. Excelling across borders, transforming countries. Yet our real graphs are your lifestyles. Our growth curves are your smiles. We understand your dreams, aspirations, and ambitions, and we know how to fulfill them. Rooted in luxury by those who created it in the first place. DMAC, live the luxury.
DMAC Luxury Homes started here. With homes like this. We're talking about, does this look like what's in your range, MAGA? Is this what you meant when you said you can't afford a home? Is this your lifestyle? Is this the lifestyle you were talking about? So I hate to break it to you, those are investments that you can't afford, that I can't afford. Why is this housing developer of luxury homes in Dubai, which I promise you, you're not going to believe the story behind that. Why, YouTube? It's imperative that I understand why Hussein wants to invest in a giant warehouse of data processing units for AI. Number one, why do you need that for AI? What are you talking about, AI? AI what? Faces? Voice recognition? Memes on Facebook? Oh, by the way, who has now said they're no longer fact-checking anything. Maybe that's the deal. Maybe now you're just going to generate a bunch of fakeness, so much that you need warehouses of data processing for. I don't think that is the real point here. Why is Hussein doing this? Well, it turns out that money, all the money that DMAC gets, is less of an investment into America and more of a laundering operation for how he gets it.
Welcome to Dubai.
If you're in the international drug business, Dubai is a great place to do business from.
The new crime capital of Australia.
Public enemy number one sorts of criminals can operate with impunity and keep their businesses going.
Why our worst crooks and suspected crims.
They are people with a lot of influence, a lot of money.
Love this glitzy gangster's paradise. It would seem dozens of the world's worst villains have bought property in this Middle Eastern metropolis. The names appear in an extensive database of property records, obtained by a global coalition of investigative journalists, led by the Organised Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. It features thousands of entries and pinpoints the properties belonging to some of the world's most unscrupulous people, a roll call of the crooked, criminal and corrupt. With its skyline punctuated by glistening skyscrapers and man-made beaches lined with mega mansions, Dubai has long had one of the world's hottest real estate markets. A desert dream for property developers, the last 50 years has seen an explosion in high-end, high-luxury living.
YouTube, are you surprised that anybody doing business in America, as long as Trump is president, is in the dealings with criminals and the degradates and despots? You shouldn't be. You absolutely should not be. What is surprising is there was an entire news media there with cameras, microphones, cell phones, and the wealth of the knowledge of all human history at their fingertips. And not one of them looked up the name. Or maybe is it that all of them are just a little bit owned or invested in by these same criminals? So that's not the questions they wanted to ask. That's not the low-hanging fruit for them. Could it be that even after research and millions of dollars of people who do research for you, not yet has anybody heard in American media about the first 5 minutes of the hour and 30-minute long clown show disguised as a press conference? There's another thing, YouTube. We just got to get to it. When they say AI, why they keep repeating that? What does that mean? What AI are they talking about? And I knew that I was missing something when they said investments in these large buildings full of data processing, data holding. What the hell does that have to do with AI? Oh, it's not AI. The AI that they're talking about is the AI that they use for Bitcoin mining and other cryptocurrencies. And a few minutes after, the most amazing news you've never heard that happened in the first 5 minutes of the conference, this happened.
Made it a point of telling people if you invest $1 billion or more, and we'll do this for people with far less too, but we guarantee it. We're going to move them quickly through the environmental process. AI is a very big deal in terms of the future. China is already building electric facilities, big bold electric facilities. And you know how they're being fired up? With coal. They're being fired up with coal. And we're going to build bigger and better ones. People like Hussein, if you take a look, just last month, SoftBank announced the $200 billion. I think it'll be
$200 billion from SoftBank. You mean this SoftBank, right? The cryptocurrency holder, investor that went belly up, that had their worst quarter of losses in 2022, but somehow found themselves on the right side of the ledger right around the time that places like, for instance, Russia started to get around sanctions. And so YouTube, it turns out that instead of just the ridiculous claims of war with Panama over a canal and dick measuring contests with countries around the world, there was a piece of news that happened first with names, numbers, and receipts, and no one talked about it. DMAC, luxury property building in Dubai that gets all of its money from people who are unsavory. Turns out that they have 40 new plants just like this to go AI data mining, which they leave out the second part of that phrase. They just say AI.
In data center, we are in 10 countries around the world, in Asia, Europe, and Middle East. And we're very, very excited now with his leadership.
That's why he's investing here. Those luxury homes that do get built here by that company, I'm sure, won't be for you. And those data mining buildings also won't create jobs. They're full of servers that take electricity and power and resources to cool machines, thousands, hundreds of thousands of them at some times, which is why they have to get around regulations, because all of that power, all of those resources don't go to human beings to be used. All of that power steals from actual humans and gives it to people to make fake money that doesn't exist, to get around laws that they don't like for illegal means around the world. Thank you, MAGA. If you think I'm the only one who thinks so, watch this.
For regulators, it is certainly a concern. You have things like the SEC, you have FinCEN, you have the IRS.
But while the business world scrambles to exploit it and governments rush to regulate it, countries like Russia see a very different opportunity.
My sense of cryptocurrencies largely driven to evade U.S. sanctions and to undermine sovereign currencies. Both of them are a challenge to the national interests of the United States.
We need to search for unconventional solutions. These are the people who will build our new future and live there.
So, if you remember, at Mar-a-Lago during the campaign, we got a glimpse of the orange monster saying to his friends of billionaires, whoever invests $1 billion, I'll make sure that you get everything back. And those friends of his were all energy people. He wasn't lying. It turns out anybody who invests $100 billion will be able to buy America, its land, its resources, make no jobs for actual people, destroy their actual grids.
Inexpensively, you could have extra output which you'll sell to the public, but build it with the plant, and people are loving that idea.
And in order to pay for it, let's just start another war somewhere. That's the news. So, we're going to get into how our news media has failed you yet again, and why they won't talk about these people and these investments, because the owners of these news media makes money from them on the next show. And then on the next show, we'll have another part about how the things that he said are ridiculous and absurd, and maybe even have some fun after that. Because it was an hour and 30-minute long press conference by an incoming president of the leader of the free world. It's impossible to dilute it and compress it into a sound bite. That's how you cover the news. I'll see you on the next one of the next important part of this hour and a half long press conference. Press like, press subscribe. We need people in the resistance. If you think you have what it takes to resist the upcoming fascist movement that wants to destroy America, that has bought and sold our land and our people, and our resources to the highest bidder before he even was inaugurated. If you think you have what it takes to fight that, and you're willing to be vetted thoroughly, email me. We can get it started. Also, if you want to run for office so you can provide the political resistance, which will be needed, don't let anyone tell you different. Anyone can run. I can help you. Let me know. Press like, press subscribe, share. Educate yourself, educate others, and then come back for more. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.